Did I give you one of these pieces of paper? I did not. Here, I'm gonna give you one of these. So you can write on this piece of paper. This is your note. I've already started much of your note for you here. You'll notice there's the same ruler on this as you had gave you there. And what we please don't rip the holes out of it because you'll never be able to stick it in the thing if you rip it up there. This is what makes our system of measurement so difficult. You'll see on your ruler, on the ruler that I gave you, okay, one side is centimeters, one side is inches. We're going to start off talking about the inch side, okay? And I went to the liberty here of taking 1 inch, this little inch, and I blew it up and made it really, really big just so you can see it, okay? This is why it is so difficult to use our measurement system. First of all, it's based on fractions. And nobody likes to use fractions, ever, because fractions are just hard to work with. Okay, you'll notice on your ruler, between the 0 and the 1, it's split into how many equal pieces? Look on your ruler, look on mine, it doesn't really matter. You can probably guess how many are there. Zach Roth? Nope. Nope. Take a look up here. See what this fraction is here? Guess what that next fraction is there. Madison? Yeah. We cut an inch into 16 pieces here. Okay? And each one of those pieces is 1/16. Okay? Okay, so you'll see up here, see this is 1/16. Remember when we used the number line and you had to count how many spaces and then you said how many spaces over it is? Well, this is 1/16 here. The next space over is not 1/16, but it's actually 2/16. But here's the problem. 2/16 isn't the way we say 2/16, because it can be what we call reduced or made easier. 2/16 is the same thing as 1/8. If you ate 2/16 of a pizza, you actually ate 1/8 of it. So the problem comes that if you measure something out to be 2/16, you can't say 2/16, you have to actually say 1/8. Okay? Now we do have 3/16. We can 3/16 is a good call. You can have 3/16, but you can't have 4/16 because 4/16 can be easier said as 1/4. If you took a pizza and cut it into 16 pieces, and I'll do that for you. Take me a second here. Here's my pizza. I cut it into 16 pieces. If I have 4 of those pieces, look at what fraction of the circle. Well, I guess I drew my circle wrong there. Did I draw 16 of them? Let me do it over here. Here's my circle. Let's see. I cut it in half. I cut it in quarters. Cut each quarter in half, I get 8ths. Cut each 8th in half, I get 16ths. So if I have 4 of them, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 1/4 of the thing. So I have to say 1/4. I can say 5/16, that's a good fraction, but I can't say 6/16 because there's an easier way to say it, and that's 3/8. I can say 7/16, but I can't say 8/16 because if you ate 8 out of 16 pieces of a pizza, you ate 1/2 of it. So the problem is when you use an inch ruler, you have to know which of the measurements you're using. And you can sometimes say 16ths, but sometimes it's quarters and sometimes it's 8ths. For example, here, if I measure a line that goes all the way to here, I can count 16ths, 1/16, 2/16, 3/16, 4/16, 5/16, 6/16, 7/16, 8/16, 9/16, 10/16. is kind of right, but I can't say 10/16 because 5/8 means the same exact thing, and I have to use the easy way to say it. And that's what makes measuring in our little system so hard, because you can't say some of these things. Okay, you can't say 14/16 because 7/8 is the same thing as 14/16, and you have to use the simplest one. I can't say 12/16 because 3/4 is an easier way to say it. So that's what you have to get used to in our whatever system of measuring. Okay, so if you open your books to page 278, please. 278. 278, and look at problem letter P. Problem number P, it's the practice part on the left-hand side, P. And I want you to take your ruler, and you're using the inch side, and I want you to put it on that line and measure it and tell me what you get. And make sure that you start, don't put the edge here, but the first line has to be where you start, because you might have a little extra on the edge there. Show me how you have it lined up there. Nice bends right there. Right there. Right there. And first thing you know is that it first of all is 2 whole inches first. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's 3 whole inches, right? So you have to start with the whole number 3 because it's 3 whole inches over, but what fraction of the next inch over is it? And you can count how many 16ths it is and then figure it out from there. How many 16ths more than that 3 inches is it? And your rulers are a little, I always give you a little grace because these are photocopied, so they're not super true. How many 16ths? If you count how many spaces over that line is, what did we come up with? Layton?
16.
Somebody get more than 2 or less than 2? Are we agreeing with 2 16ths, or do you think it's more than that? Joseph?
6/16.
Joseph, well, I got a 2 16ths and a 6 16ths. I'm gonna look at somebody's book here and I'm gonna measure myself. If I'm measuring this over here, I put that there. I don't know, to me it looks like it's 4 16ths. Did you get 4 16ths?
Yeah, that's what I have.
Show me where you're at, because you should, my ruler and your ruler are the same. You're starting on this. Yeah, you should count 4 16ths over after the line. Wait. You should get 3 4 16ths, and lucky for you, you'd be very wrong because I can't let you say 4 16ths because 4 16ths is the same as what fraction? Look on your notes there. 4 16ths is the same as 4 16ths is the same as 1/4, and you have to use 1/4. And you have it written right there. It went 1, 2, 3, 4 16ths. You have to use that for 4 16ths. Okay. How about line number letter Q? First of all, it's how many whole inches over?
2.
2. And then how many 16ths, or what fraction is it after that? Jacob Horning? It is a half. If you count, it's 8 16ths, but we can't say 8 16ths because it's the same as 1/2, and we always use the easiest fraction. How about letter R? It is 1 whole inch over plus what fraction of the next inch? What fraction of the next inch is it? What fraction of the next inch over is it, Zach Roth?
1, 2, 3 fourths.
That's what? Did you say 3/4?
1 3/4.
I don't know if people have their hands up like they might not agree with you. Let me look at, put your ruler on there, let me look at it. Start right there. I guess looks like 10/16 to me. But I can't say 10/16 because that's the same as 5/8. 1 5/8 would be my answer for that one. 1 5/8 of an inch. Again, that's what makes measuring here. Now, if you look at the book, take a look at the practice JKLMN. Their ruler that they're using there isn't done to 16ths, it only uses eighths. It only cuts inches into eighths. So when you're looking at theirs, you have to make sure if they're using eighths of an inch or 16ths of an inch. Your ruler goes 16. That one is eighths of an inch. So letter J is what fraction, Caleb? Half an inch. Letter K is Joseph?
1 1/8.
No, because that goes, how many marks after the 1 is it?
2.
2, so it's 2/8, but I can't say 2/8 because 2/8 is the same thing as 1/4. See, there's what? You got 1/8, 2/8, half inch is 4/8. You can say 5/8. This is 6/8. You can say 7/8, and that right there. How about letter L? Letter L. 1 and how many eighths is letter L? How many eighths is letter L? Lauren says 7/8. Letter M, 2 and how many eighths? Sophia? M is 2 and how many eighths? How many tick marks after 2?
2 and 4/8.
How do you get 4? You can't count the 2. You count spaces after the 2. How many? 3. 2 and 3/8. How about letter N? Brian Diedrich. Now you don't have to measure. Don't use your ruler. Just they already give you the thing there. 3 whole inches and then what? How many eighths? How many spaces after the 3 are there? Are you looking in the right place I am, letter N? You don't need to look at your book for anything, it's right there. How many spaces after the 3 is it?
1/8.
It is 1/8. And letter O? Ella?
6/8.
But I can't say 6/8 because it is 6/8, but you have to say 3/4. And they're welcome to the wonderful world of fractions. Now, to make your life ever so much nicer, now take a look at the other system that we as a country should be using, and it is the metric system, and that's the one on top. Okay? And it is measured in, well, this says centimeters. Okay? But the nice thing about this is this. Take a look. Let's say my line, I'm going to draw a line here. Sorry, that's what I wanted to do. I am going to draw a line for you. Watch how easy it is to measure with centimeters. Here's my line. My line goes from here and goes right to here. Maybe I should blow that up a little bit more. Maybe I should blow it up even more. Maybe I'll erase that one. Why not? Let's do that. Take a look here. Get rid of this. Watch how easy. Look, learn, and love the metric system, children. I'll actually draw a line. It'll make it look better. Make it a small line. Okay, let's say my line starts right here at the end and goes to right. Let's say it goes to right there. And just so you get the gist of it, I'll move it really close here. So you can see, uh-oh. I'm going to let you move it close enough. Can I move that over just a little? I can't. Well, let's say it starts there. Let's just say it starts at the end and goes there. Here, I'm going to blow this up super big. There are 2 measurements you're going to use in the metric system for right now. One of them is centimeters and one of them is millimeters. And millimeters. These big numbers are centimeters, okay? There are 10 millimeters in a centimeter, so you can count all the way back there, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, how many millimeters it is? 70 plus this extra one, it is 71 millimeters. Now, if I asked you how many centimeters that is, I know you want to say 7, but it's a little longer than 7, is it not? How much longer than 7 is it? Just 1. But you don't have to worry about any of that because this number, this 71, is going to be the same 71 you use for centimeters, except you're going to put a dot right between those two. Because this is 7 1/10, or 7.1 centimeters. You're always going to have, in centimeters and millimeters, these are always going to be the same digits. It's just that centimeters is going to have a decimal there, millimeters won't. So if my line, let me change my line, what if my line only went that far? How many millimeters is that? So you know it's 60 up to here. 60, Caleb?
66.
66 millimeters. 66 millimeters. And guess how many centimeters that would be? As in 6.6. Yep, because it's 6 6/10. The nice thing about the metric system is it breaks everything up into 10 equal groups. And it's always easy to work with tens because it's easy to multiply by tens and it's easy to divide by tens. How about this? What if my line went to right there? How many millimeters is that? Jacob Hording?
90.
And how many centimeters is it? Caleb?
9.0.
Or just 9, yep, 9.0 or 9. And that's so much easier than trying to deal with all these fractions because it's just, let's move this, let's scooch over here. What if I do this one? Let's keep going smaller. What do you say? How many millimeters is that? Millimeters. It's kind of a tweener there, but Zach Roth,
27.
I would go with 27, and that would mean how many centimeters is it? Pausing? 2.7. See how completely simple this is. What about here? Uh-oh. Oh, my line moved. How about that? Good thing you couldn't see the other end of the line. It wouldn't have made any sense. See, I can't. I almost have to start a millimeter over there. Oh wait, let's make it smaller still. How about that one? How many centimeters? What if I ask you how many centimeters that is? Connor?
8.
No, that's how many millimeters?
8.1.
Nope, that'd be 810.
Oh, I know. 8.0.
No, that'd still be 8. Oh wait, I said
0.8.
0.8. It's 0.8 centimeters. 0.8 centimeters, and then how many millimeters is it? Jen? 8. And again, that is a piece of cake to do because it's just that easy. So looking in your books, look at letter B. Measure letter B. How long is letter B in centimeters and in millimeters? Letter B in centimeters and millimeters, and you have to use the other side of your ruler. See what you get there. They might be nice to you, and it might work out kind of nice and even there. Centimeters, millimeters. It is, Layton?
6 and 60.
Yep, 6 centimeters and 60 millimeters. How about letter C? How about letter C? Oh. Yeah, that's fine.
I need to cross it.
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Letter C then is, Sarah, what'd you get for C? 90 what? 90 centimeters or 90 millimeters? 90 millimeters and 9 centimeters. Which would you prefer measuring with?
Millimeters. Centimeters.
No, I meant between inches and centimeters.
Centimeters.
What other questions are there? How about this? Here's a question for you. How many centimeters would you say an inch is? Looking at your ruler, 1 inch is how many centimeters as a general guess? Grace? Nope. 2 inches is 5. 1 inch is how many? Joseph?
2.
Yeah, well, give me a decimal there. It's bigger than 2. Lauren? 2.5, yeah. And as a general rule, kids, because I have to tell 6th grade this all the time, never, you use fractions all the time with our whatever inch system. Never do you ever use fractions with a metric system. Okay? Even though this is, we say 8/10 or 0.8, you can never write the fraction 8/10 with the metric system. It has to be 0.8. Now, what time do we get out? It would be a terrible shame if we don't have enough time for homework. I'll have to go check and see.